A hacking group claims it has proof US Olympic team members used banned substances both during the Rio Games and in earlier years. They have released documents allegedly stolen from a database of the World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA. Let's get more now live from RT's Gaine Chichikan in the American capital. Gaine, just reading through some of the reports, some very big names alleged in this. Bring us up to date with what we know to date.
The leaked WADA documents purportedly show that a number of top U.S. athletes were allowed to take banned substances over a long period of time. As we understand, posted online were copies of therapeutic use exemption certificates. Tennis player Serena Williams was allowed to take banned substances in 2010, 2014, and 2015. Venus Williams was also allowed to take a number of substances prohibited by WADA for 4 consecutive years, beginning in 2010. Gymnast Simone Biles, who won 4 gold medals in the 2016 Olympics in Rio, is shown to have tested positive for methylphenidate on August 11th, the same day as she claimed Olympic all-around gold, gymnastics' most coveted prize. She tested positive for the same banned substance through her other competitions in the August Olympics. Biles was also apparently allowed to take dextroamphetamine in 2013 and 2014. That too is prohibited by WADA. We reached out to the Gymnastics Federation and they said Biles took the substances for medical reasons.
She has a therapeutic use exemption. There is nothing we have to mention about that. Everything is absolutely clear and according to the rules. So she has a TUE which has been delivered by Sportacor. So don't try to look for problem when there is no problem. That's the only thing I can tell you.
The Tennis Federation made a similar statement on the Williams sisters, saying they had medical reasons to take the substances. Important to note here, the leaked papers do not show medical records or what the athletes were diagnosed with. Here's what the Tennis Federation also told us earlier.
The ITF was notified by WADA earlier today that ADAMS, their anti-doping database, had been hacked. We are working with WADA to establish the nature and extent of this breach of security.
The statement that WADA put out has not addressed the leaked documents, but focused on condemning the hacking itself.
WADA has been informed by law enforcement authorities that these acts are originating out of Russia. These criminal acts are greatly compromising the effort by the global anti-doping community to re-establish trust in Russia, further to the outcomes of the agency's independent McLaren investigation report.
There's clearly no love lost between WADA and Russia. We could not independently verify who the hackers were, but it's also important to note WADA has not disputed the authenticity of the leaked documents.
RT's Gaine Chichikan from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. Well, as mentioned, the leaked documents show that some American athletes were allowed to take drugs which are on WADA's list of banned substances. For instance, methylphenidate, a central nervous system stimulant. Another substance, hydromorphone, is an opioid medication which is used to treat moderate to severe pain. Finally, oxycodone is a strong painkiller prescribed to manage severe, acute or chronic pain. Well, I'm happy to say to discuss this further, Alan Moore, brand director of Bosna Professional Sports Nutrition and sports columnist as well, joins me now in the studio. Alan, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
If everybody, let's put it just like this, if everybody is equal in sport, and that is what we are striving for in the global community, shouldn't medical conditions be made public before leaks like this are made, which throws the athlete's integrity into question, especially when you're talking about representing the national team? The public of that country need to know, in a way, what their star athletes are taking or otherwise.
You know, that is exactly correct. There's a kind of a balance of a right to privacy for an individual. Everyone has that right. However, there will be sponsors today looking at, well, you know, is that person really fit? Should they be playing? Because they put a lot of money behind players like athletes like Serena, Venus Williams, and they should know if their players are unfit to play, because then they could vary the bet. Because we have instances like this in the past. We remember the 1998 World Cup final when Ronaldo like collapsed before the final, but was told, well, we assumed he was told that he had to play by Nike because of sponsors' commitment. So there should be a right to know, but also it needs to be balanced, needs to be handled better, and it should not be released in this way.
Let's take a listen together to the latest United States Anti-Doping Agency statement on the issue. I believe we can hear it now.
The cyberbullying of innocent athletes being engaged in by these hackers is cowardly and despicable. It's time for the entire international community to stand up and condemn this cyber attack on clean sport and athletes' rights.
Are hackers actually doing the job now for WADA?
Well, we've seen that hackers and whistleblowers have been doing the job for WADA, have been doing the job for, USADA as well. I mean, we had, a very brave young lady from Ireland, a masseuse, who was working with Lance Armstrong, who was ridiculed, who was threatened, who was bullied, not by cyber bullies, but by members of the American media and by Lance Armstrong himself. Now it's turned around where people have to do whatever they can to get information to the public domain. Now, again, this bounces back to the right of privacy. However, there should be no need that this should be made public in such a way that it should already be in the open. And taking such strong medication just to get through an event in representing the national team, as you said, this shouldn't be. We should be caring more the health of our athletes.
You can't help but think of double standards at play here, can you? Because the athletes involved, you can read the reports, they're superstars, they're global names, they're massive. But how will other athletes feel knowing that some can take medication for pain or whatever when others can't? And, others are people like Maria Sharapova, who we all know was in the news before for taking certain pain medication, cough medication, but others can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just double standards. I think something is coming out now and which we can bet $1 on. I'm not a betting man, but I would bet $1 on the fact that there's some of these TUEs, or the therapeutic use exemptions, that now seem to have been backdated. So people had been found or caught with some substance in their system and then were issued with a TUE, which happened with Lance Armstrong. He was caught taking it and then was given effectively a doctor's note. So this is going to come out more and more and more. And when athletes start to say, hold on, I ran clean, I played tennis clean, and yet this person across the net from me or in the next lane to me, they were actually doping up or taking painkilling medication that they shouldn't have been. It gave them an advantage, or, which hasn't been spoken about, a lot of these medications are actually masking agents. So they mask other more damaging and more, shall we say, performance-enhancing drugs.
After these leaks emerged, the first thing WADA did was actually to put the blame on Russia, saying that the hacker group is Russian. Is it a way to, in a way, take away, distract the public from the actual content of what's in the leaks?
It's classic kind of like a bait and switch. I mean, we kind of rush at the moment. I think there's a very, very famous quote by a certain hurling captain who says that he referred to his county as no longer being the whipping boys. Russia are the whipping boys and girls of world sports at the moment. However, I think what we can definitely say from these leaks is that Russia is not the only country which has problems, and I think we've said that all along. And now, hopefully, we'll have a chance to have a really global view and look at the activities of WADA itself.